Reading Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 2nd chapter, text 17. Sri Shuka Vacha. Sukadev Goswami said, Iti, thus, Lalana, women, Anunaya, in winning over, Ati Visharadaha, very expert, Gramya Vaidhagdaya, expert in fulfilling one's material desires. Paribhasaya, by selected words. Tam, her, Vibhuddhavadum, the celestial girl. Vibhuddhamatihi, Agnidra, who possess intelligence like that of the demigods. Abhisa bhajayam asha, gain the favor of. Translation. Sukadev Goswami continued, Maharaj Agnidra, whose intelligence was like that of a demigod, knew the art of flattering women to win them to his side. He therefore pleased the celestial girl with his lusty words and gained her favor. Please respond. Maharaj Sukadev Goswami continued, Maharaj Agnidra, whose intelligence was like that of a demigod, knew the art of flattering women to win them to his side. He therefore pleased that celestial girl with his lusty words and gained her favor. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Since King Agnidra was a devotee, he actually had no attraction for material enjoyment. But because he wanted a wife for progeny and Lord Brahma had sent Purvachiti for this purpose, he expertly pleased her with flattering words. Women are attracted by man's flattering words. One who is expert in this art of flattery is called Vidhagda. That is the word Vidhagda Madhava. So we go on to the next verse in attracted by the intelligence, learning, youth, beauty, behavior, opulence, and magnanimity of Agnidra, the king of Jambudip and the master of all heroes, Purvachiti lived with him for many thousands of years, luxuriously enjoyed both worldly and heavenly happiness. Purport. By grace of Lord Brahma, King Agnidra and the heavenly girl Purvachiti found their union quite suitable, and thus they enjoyed worldly and heavenly happiness for many thousands of years. In the womb of Purvachiti, Maharaj Agnidra, the best of the king, begot 9 sons named Nabhi, Kim Purusha, Harivarsha, Ilavarta, Ramyaka, Hiranmaya, Kuru, Bhadrasva, and Ketumala. Purvachiti gave birth to these 9 sons, one each year, but after they grew up, she left them at home and again approached Lord Brahma to worship him. There are many instances in which the Apsaras, heavenly angels, have descended to this earth by the order of a superior demigod like Lord Brahma or Lord Indra, have followed the demigod order by marrying someone and giving birth to the children, and have then returned to their celestial homes. For example, after Menaka, the celestial woman who had come to delude Vishwamitra Muni, gave birth to the child Sakuntala, she left both the child and the husband and returned to the heavenly planet. Purvachiti did not remain permanently with Maharaj Agnidra. After cooperating in his household affairs, she left Maharaj Agnidra and all the 9 sons and returned to Brahma to worship him. Because of drinking the breast milk of their mother, the 9 sons of Agnidra naturally had strong, well-built bodies. Their father gave them each a kingdom in a different part of Jambudip. The kingdoms were named according to the names of the sons. Thus, the sons of Agnidra ruled the kingdom they received from their father. The Acharya specially mentioned that in this verse the word Matuhu Anugrahat, by the mercy of their mother, referred to the breast milk of their mother. In India, it is a common belief that if a baby is fed with mother's milk for at least 6 months, his body will be very strong. Beside that, it is mentioned herein that all the sons of Agnitra were endued with the nature of their mother. Bhagavad Gita 140 also declares Trisu Dustasu Varsneya Jayate Varna Shankaraha. When women are polluted, Varna Shankara unqualified children are generated, and when the Varna Shankara population increases, the entire world becomes hellish. Therefore, according to Manu Samhita, women needs a great deal of protection in order to remain pure and chaste, so that her children can be fully engaged for the benefit of human society. After Purvachiti's departure, King Agnitra, his lusty desires not at all satisfied, always thought of her. Therefore, in accordance with the Vedic injunction, the king after his death was promoted to the same planet as his celestial wife. That planet, which is called Pitraloka, is where the Pitas, the forefathers, live in great delight. Purport. If one always thinks of something, he certainly gets a related body after death. Maharaj Agnidra was always thinking of Pitraloka, the place where his wife had returned. Therefore, after his death, he achieved that same planet, probably to live with her again. Bhagavad Gita also says, Yam yam vapi smaranam bhavan tejante kalaivaram tam tam eva iti kauntaya sadatat bhava bhavitaha. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. We can naturally conclude that if we always think of Krishna or become fully Krishna conscious, we can be promoted to the planet of Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna eternally lives. I'm going to finish this chapter. After the departure of their father, the 9 brothers married the 9 daughters of Meru named Meru Devi, Pratirupa, Ugra, Damstri, Lata, Ramya, Shama, Nari, Bhadra, and Deva Viti. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 5th canto, 2nd chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Activities of Maharaj Agnitra. सोमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानं ज्ञानशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मां ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं सगजातं सहगण रघुनाथमितं तं साजीवं साद्वैतं शवदूतं परिजनं सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदं सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिककान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। ताप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुता देवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीति नामिने देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पश्चाद्य देशधारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाशि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So thank you very much for attending our Srimad Bhagavatam class. So here we have covered a lot of verses to end the chapter. So the interesting point here is that Agnidra always thought of his wife, Purvachiti, and he attained to the planet where she was. So you can see how the mind is a very what we say, important instrument in guiding for the next life. That's also explained here. Krishna explained that in the famous two verses. Here, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said this verse, just Prabhupada quoted this verse, Yam Yam Vapi Smaranam Bhavan, Tejante Kalevaram Tam Tam Eva Iti Kauntaya Sadatan Bhava Bhavitaha. So whatever stage one quits, whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, or son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. So that means whatever our mind is focusing on at the time of death, then we will attain the next birth accordingly. This is owing to the nature of the. So, and Krishna also said in the previous verse, he said here, and whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this, there's no doubt. So, but if you remember Krishna, then you go back to the spiritual world where Krishna is. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is illustrating this point by referring to a few examples. One, I'm sure you know, a very famous example. What was that? Very famous. What's that example? Who? Very good. Bharat Maharaj, he was thinking of the deer and he became. So he was thinking of the deer, he became a. What are the examples you know in the Bhagavatam? What else? Can you remember? Because you're studying, we just finished the chapter actually. Parikshit Maharaj is different. He remembered the Lord. Of course, remembering the Lord, you go back to the Lord. It's also an example. But I'm talking about someone who fell down. What's his name in fourth canto? He was thinking of his wife. He became a woman. Puranjan. Puranjan, he was thinking of his wife. Right? Next life, he became she married this Malaya Dwaja. Correct? Well, what else example you remember? So, okay, we will go to this verse. I think it's 3:31. That someone remembers the woman, she fell down because of thinking of 3:31. So you see here, this is explained here in this verse, not this. 41. So you see here, in another verse, it explains this point again. A living entity who, as a result of attachment to woman in his previous life, has been endowed with the form of a woman. You see this point here. So our consciousness, if it is always thinking of whatever sense object, then we attain that without fail. Understand? Huh? Because of his attachment to woman in previous life has been endowed with the form of woman, foolishly looks upon Maya in the form of a man, a husband, as the bestower of wealth, progeny, house, and other material assets. You see how this conditioning is, how the living entity transmigrates from one body to the next body. To further illustrate this point, there's two verses in the Bhagavatam that speaks about it. Actually, there's more. So I'm going to show you that. I think this is the verse. This is spoken by Narada Muni. A glassworm confined in a hole of a wall by a bee always thinks of the bee in fear and enmity, and later becomes a bee simply because of such remembrance. Can you imagine that? They think this is all fiction. This is how you think like that, especially many people who don't believe in reincarnation. Yeah? If you go speak to somebody outside your Hindu circle, many people don't believe in reincarnation. Yes, they either believe that they die, they go back to God, or if they don't accept God, they go to hell. There's no. But this example is so, what we say, what is the word there? Very livid, is it? That's the word? That it is very strongly presented. It is very visible. See this point here. A glassworm confined in a hole of a wall by a bee always thinks of the bee in fear and enmity and later becomes a bee. Actually, the word here is it's not bee, actually it's wasp. You know what is a wasp? It's bigger than a bee. It always captures the insects. And later become simply because of remembrance. Similarly, if the conditioned soul somehow or other think of Krishna, who is Sachidananda Vigraha, they will become free from their sin, whether thinking of him as their worshipable Lord or an enemy. Because of constantly thinking of him, they will regain their spiritual body. That is his point. So if you think of Krishna, another verse, same place, another one. I think this is the verse, maybe, yeah. O king, this is in the 11th canto. Once a wasp forced the weaker insect to enter his hive and kept him trapped there. In great fear, the weak insect constantly meditated upon his captor, and without giving up his body, he gradually achieved the same state without giving up his body. See this point here. Huh? Without what? He gradually achieved the same state of existence as the wasp. Thus, one achieves a state of existence according to one's constant concentration. Actually, I was a little bit doubtful about this. Then I had somebody, he told me, Prabhu, there's an insect like this, because he comes from the farm, village farm. So there's a wasp, then this traps the insect, and then because it's constantly this other animal, insect is thinking of that wasp, then it becomes a wasp. I was, oh really, that happened? I said, yeah. Then when I heard that and I read this verse, it got into my understanding that there's such, it is a real thing. It is not fiction. Otherwise, why write in the Bhagavatam? Huh? This is spoken by who? Huh? Krishna will tell some lines. So you see, to prove the point that even without changing his body, he became a vas. Then, of course, when we die, whatever state we are thinking of, that state we will attain without fail. So the way the living entity goes to another body is through the mental perception. So you see how important it is that we keep our mind away from sense gratification. Because by meditating on sense gratification, then our destination is where? Where we go? Huh? It's dangerous. You see here. When we think of constant sense gratification, अनेक चित्त विभ्रांतः मोहजाल समामृतः प्रशाक्त काम भोगेषु पतान्ति नरकेषु च. So by constantly thinking of sense gratification, thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusion, they become too strongly attached to sense enjoyment and fall down into hell. See, so our mind, if it is so much attached to sense gratification, then our destination is where? Understand? It is not something we take it what? In a whimsical manner. You don't want to, no problem. Not problem for God, Krishna, correct? Where you go? Going to hell is fun. No? It's fun. No? Why not fun? Why? First you go there, you suffer, correct? Then what happens? After that, what happens? Nothing happens. You come back again as Mr. So and so. Huh? What? Born as animal? What verse is that? 331. Huh? 330, 34. So you see what happens here if you come back from hell. Adastan nara lokasya avati yata nadayaha kramashah sama anukramya punar artha varcha chuchi. Having gone through all the miserable hellish conditions, and having passed in the regular order through the lowest forms of animal life, prior to human birth, and having thus been purged of his sin, one is reborn again as a human being on this earth. That means you come from, how many, what is that? You may start even in the lowest form. What is that? What is the lowest form? What is the lowest form? Fish. How many species of fish there is? One. Huh? Only one fish. You are expert, no? You Bengal. How many fish you eating? Huh? You got so many, what? What is that? What fish you eat?
Many types
Many types. In the Shastra it says 900, 9 lakhs, 900,000 kind of fish. After the fish, you go to what next? After fish, what? After fish, what?
Tree, bird.
Tree. After fish is tree. How many kinds of tree you have seen? How many kinds of trees are there? Only one tree. Huh? What are many? How many? 2 lakhs. 2 lakhs kinds of? 20, no, 20 lakhs. That means about 2 million. 2 million kind of And then after trees?
bird,
No. After trees, what? Crimea. What is crim? Insects and snakes. How? 1.1 million or 11 lakhs. Huh? And then after that, you come to what? Birds. How many kinds of birds? 1 million. And after birds, you come to what? Huh? 3 million animals. And after you finish that, then you come to human birth. So you see, you pass, go to hell, you come back, how many millions of species? 8 million species you have to huh? Go one by one, and finally you come back again as human birth. Is it a deal? Nice. Prabhu, okay, Prabhu. I mean, I can take so many births and enjoy. Huh? It's nice, huh? Huh? You think that dying is nice? Huh? I've shown this many times. It was short. O elevated demigods, at the time of death, severe, unbearable pain takes away the consciousness of all living entities who have accepted material body. Don't you know about this pain? So it is not fun, the dying. Ah. And you see here, when you die, you'll be so painful, it takes away your consciousness. It takes away. So you think you're going to remember Krishna at the time? When you are extreme pain and your consciousness is gone, what is going to happen to you? Nothing. Huh? What's going to happen? Hello? Nothing happened. Huh? So if you die, you forget everything. What will happen? Hare Krishna. It's going to be very dangerous. Yes. Yes or not? That's why I see how important it is to start chanting. Yeah, see, I'll show you. I think it's what? 6, 6:2. Give me a minute. So here you see, you can see here, I read the verse. While suffering at the time of death, see the word here, while suffering at the time of death, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord. And although the chanting was directed to his son, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chant the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return to Godhead? There's a purport is what I'm going to highlight here. It's a very important purport. At the time of death, one is certainly bewildered because these bodily functions are in disorder. Now you read, correct? The disorder. At the time, even one who throughout his life has practiced chanting the holy name of the Lord may not be able to chant Hare Krishna. Eh? Hello? You don't know? So many tubes and so many. Huh? You don't know how you're going to die. Mostly they go to the hospital, correct? And what they will do? They will put all the tubes, yeah? And you have tubes in your mouth, how are you going to chant? Can you chant? I just came back from my so-called uh, heart bypass, and I experienced. I did not know what happened. Of course, I'm drugged out. I had a big tube in my mouth. I could not even chant. And of course, I had many other tubes around. It was a difficult situation. I'm not exaggerating. I mean, that's what I saw. So, and you're drugged out. There's another thing, what? They had me in morphine. I drugged. You know, so if I had to die at that time, what would happen? So you see, Prabhupada says, I will not be able to chant the Hare Krishna mantra very distinctly. Nevertheless, such a person receives all the benefits of chanting the holy name while the body is fit. Therefore, why should we not chant the holy name of the Lord loudly and distinctly? If one does so, it is quite possible that even at the time of death, he will be probably able to chant the holy name of the Lord with love and faith. In conclusion, one who chants the holy name of the Lord constantly is guaranteed to return home back to Godhead without a doubt. So while our body is fit, then we should what? Seriously chant. Yeah. So because we're seriously chanting, then Prabhupada said there's a good chance that we will be able to. Huh? Ah. The same point is also explained here. This verse. This was so because those who have dedicated their life to the transcendental topics of the personality of Godhead, whom the Vedic hymns sing, who constantly engage in remembering the lotus feet of the Lord, do not run the risk of having misconception, even at the last moment of their lives. Another verse. He said, those who constantly engage in remembering the lotus feet of the Lord do not run the risk of having misconception even at the last moments of their lives. See, purport. The highest perfection of life is attained by remembering the transcendental nature of the Lord at the last moment of one's life. Ante Narayana Smriti. And now we are thinking, yeah, it's so easy, I'll just remember God. No? And one person was telling me, he had some problem and he was trying to remember Krishna and nothing came. You cannot capture Krishna, Unless Krishna wants to come to you, then it is possible. Yes, Mother Yashoda tried to capture him, right? Until he allowed her. Otherwise, it's not possible. So God is not somebody that you can capture, that you think that, I'm chanting, I'll capture God, Huh? It's not possible. Unless the Lord wants to reveal himself, and that's another thing. That means you must have devotion. The highest perfection of life is attained by remembering the transcendental nature of the Lord at the last moments of one's life. This perfection of life is possible for one who has learned the actual transcendental nature of the Lord from the Vedic hymn sung by a liberated soul, like Sukadev Goswami, or someone in the line of disciplic succession. There is no gain in hearing the Vedic hymns from some mental speculator. When the same is heard from an actual self-realized soul and is properly understood by service and submission, everything becomes transparently clear. Thus, a submissive disciple is able to live transcendentally and continue to the end of life. By scientific adaptation, one is able to remember the Lord even at the end of life, when the power of remembrance is slackened due to dearrangement of bodily membranes. For a common man, it is very difficult to remember things as they are at the time of death. But by the grace of the Lord and his bona fide devotees, the spiritual master, one can get this opportunity without difficulty. And it was done in the case of Maharaj Parikshit. So I see how the grace of her Jai Sri Radha. So the grace of the Lord and the spiritual master is very, very, hello, very important. Yes?
Yes.
You cannot think that, oh, I don't need a spiritual master and I will just, I learn. No, you remember Krishna at the time of that. Yes, that's not possible. If you don't have a spiritual master to connect you to Krishna, then it is not possible to remember Krishna at all. It is not possible. You understand? So this is the risk. Because we already spent how many lives already? Is this your only birth? How many lives you have spent? Huh? Only one. No. No. Brahma lives for how many years?
56 years old.
Huh? 56. Brahma is 56 years old.
Yeah, I mean, in his,
Huh?
in his
Brahma's life is 100 years, correct? Yes? And his life is how many trillion years? 300? 300 trillion, 40 million years is 100 years, counting our life. And now Brahma has already finished 50 years. Now he is on the 51st. That means 1 trillion, 155 trillion years have been finished. So how many times you have died and taken birth? Huh? That is only this Brahma. What about previous Brahma? That we don't know. So we have been dying and dying and dying and taking birth and going through so many million species, and still we are thinking this is my only birth. See this, how our consciousness is so polluted. Huh? Yes? So still we are saying, no, I have no time. Huh? What? Prabhu, no time, Prabhu. Correct? This is the famous mantra everyone chants. No time, no time, no time. Correct? See how at the time of death, death is taking us. We are going to what? Die. Any moment. Any moment we don't know. We don't know when we're going to die. Correct? Yes? So this is our foolishness. You understand? And this thing is a science. It is not that it is, some story written here. It is a fact. And we have shown you by example, Bharat Maharaj, he thought of the deer, he became a deer. And this Puranjan, he thought of his wife, he became women. Yes? Correct? That is not some story, See here, explain here. How this thing happens, of course, there's other places also, but I just show you from the Bhagavad Gita, easier. The living entity in this material world carries different conception of life from one body to another. How this happens, as air carries aroma, thus it takes one kind of body and again quits to take another body. This is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 8. Krishna is explaining how, just like the soul goes like how? When you go to some places, it's very smelly. You get what? You are not there, but the smell is what? Or you go to a garden, you smell the good scent of the rose. You're not there, but it is. Correct? So the air is made what? Transforming, correct? It's coming. And then you understand, oh, there's a rose garden. Similarly, when the soul is going, so it's like that, the air is going. Understand? So it is says here, Next verse. And this verse, the living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. I explained to you that's now the mind, correct? He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. So the mind, correct? Thinking of, let's say, the woman, next life you become a woman, and then you get a woman's body, right? Huh? It's not some nonsense, you know. That's why the mind, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains. I'll go to the verse now. We'll right here. And in Bhagavad Gita, here, in this verse, Krishna says, for him who has conquered the mind is the best friend, but for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Of course, I wanted to show you this verse. For man, mind is the cause of bondage and mind is the cause of liberation. Mind absorbed in sense object is the cause of bondage, and mind detached from sense object is the cause of liberation. That's why this mind is very instrumental. Mind is what? Huh? Very instrumental. Huh? So, the next verse is so important also. Utkramantam stitam vapi Bhunjanam va gunanvidam vimuda na anupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshusa. This is very important. The fool cannot see this thing. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. So that's why we are having this class. Why are we having this class? For what? For fun. Nothing to do. We're waiting for breakfast. We just sit down and chit chat. Yeah? Is that a fact? Why? Why are we sitting to hear this? Why? Hello?
Gain knowledge.
Yes. This knowledge is so important. Understand why Krishna wasted time with Arjuna? There are some time to spare. Krishna chit-chatted with Arjuna. Is that a fact? Why? What's the reason? Because this knowledge, Krishna said this knowledge is so important. Huh? Krishna says here in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, see, the Sanskrit, Shreyandravya Mahadhyagya Jnanam Yagyaham Parantapa Sarvam Karma Akilam Partha Jnane Parisamapyate. It says, O chastiser of the enemy, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than mere sacrifice of material possession. After all, O son of Pritha, all sacrifice of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. This knowledge is so important. Even Lord Shiva says, what is that? 73, is it? 75. Lord Shiva is speaking here. He says, Shreyasam eva sarvesham jnanam nishreyasam param sukam tarati dusparam jnananau vyasanarnavam. In this material world, this is spoken by Lord Shiva. In this material world, there are different types of achievement. But of all of them, the achievement of knowledge is considered to be the highest. We're not talking about material knowledge. Huh? Everybody is so keen in getting this stupid material knowledge. They think that is the goal. Study, 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 and study what? Huh? Nonsense. Is it not? You can't understand nothing. This material knowledge can only teach you how to eat, sleep, mate, and defend. That's all. Yeah, animals also do such a thing. It's useless. Krishna is not referring to that knowledge. Lord Shiva is not referring to that knowledge. He's referring to the knowledge what? What knowledge? Divya Gyan. Spiritual. What is that? Shreyasam. Ultimate knowledge is what? Material knowledge? What is the ultimate knowledge? Yes. Understand? So here he's saying, considered to be the highest, because one can cross the ocean of nescience only on the boat of knowledge. Otherwise, the ocean is impossible. Now we are talking about crossing the material ocean. Can you cross your material ocean with this material knowledge? Hello? Huh? No, it is not possible. You can only cross this material ocean by spiritual knowledge. You understand? And therefore we are hearing, hey, if I'm not careful, I'll fall down like a deer. I'm not careful, I can become a woman. I can go to hell. I've explained in this whole class what are the consequences. Yes? Hello?
Yes.
Huh? So we have to be very careful with our mind. That's why Krishna says your mind can be the best friend or your worst enemy. Yes? You mess around, and that's it. Correct? That's why example also is given. Why this Ajamil example is given? You know the story of Ajamil, right? I'm sure you must know. Yeah? Why? What happened with Ajamil? He was a rascal. Yes? Born Brahmin. He was Brahmin. Yeah?
Yeah.
Hello? Born Brahmin? What happened to him? He went back to Godhead because he drank coffee, tea, onion, garlic. He did more things than that, of course. Huh? What he did? Huh? Yeah. Bengali Brahmin, fish is allowed. We are Bengali Brahmins, we are what? Tilapa. What fish is that? Very famous fish in Bengal. Huh? Understand? This is nonsense. Yes, he fell down. But because he chanted the name of Narayan, he is fortunate to have his little son called Narayan, and he chanted the name of Krishna, he went back to the spiritual world. Gajendra, animal. Gajendra is what? Animal. And he chanted the name of Narayana Akila Guru Bhagavan Namaste. He chanted this mantra. And where he went? The Lord personally came and took him back. You understand this point? Hello? Why all these examples? Not just one-sided, two-sided, correct? Yes? And Sisupala, he was the enemy. He was what? And he also went back to garden. Say, enemy went back, animal went back. Huh? What? Someone was fallen down, went back. Correct? Why all these examples? Why? Because to teach us, look, you better become serious. You better start chanting Krishna's name. Because if you chant Krishna's name, only then you can get out of this mess. You know, this is a famous verse by Lord Brahma. Then the moment you chant, this verse here. This verse here, you see, very important verse. Samasrita he padapallava plavam mahatpadam punya yeso murari vambudi vatsapadam param padam yat vipadam natesham. For those who have accepted the board of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation, and is famous as Murari, the enemy of the Mura demon, the ocean of material world, like the water contained in a calf's footprint. Their goal is Param Padam, Vaikuntha, the place where there is no material miseries, not the place where there is danger at every step. So the moment you chant, this whole big dangerous ocean will reduce itself to the size of a calf footprint. You understand? This is not some story here. Oh, how can this ocean become this calm? Huh? So, to qualify this, Parikshit Maharaj spoke this verse. See here, this verse is speaking, very important verse. It says, to prove this, taking the boat of Krishna's lotus feet, my grandfather Arjuna and others crossed the ocean or battlefield of Kurukshetra, in which such commanders as Bhishma Dev resemble great fish that could very easily have swallowed us. See how he's saying. It's a fact. Duryodhana had how many generals? Not only what? Bhishma Dev, who? Dronacharya, Karna, who else? Jayadharat, you have what? Somadatta. I mean, he had so many, Aswat, so many. And this side only who? Only one person. Who is that? Arjuna. If Arjuna goes, finish. Pandavas are finished. You know, that's why he's saying, Bhishma Dev resemble great fish and they could very easily have swallowed us. By the mercy of Lord Krishna, my grandfathers crossed this ocean, which was very difficult to cross, as easily as one steps over the calf footprint of a calf. Because my mother surrendered unto Krishna's lotus feet, the Lord Sudarshan Chakra in hand, entered her womb and saved my body, the body of the last remaining descendant of the Kuru, and the Pandavas, which are almost destroyed by the fiery weapon of Aswatthama. Lord Sri Krishna appearing within and outside of all material embodied living beings by his own potency in the form of eternal time, that is, as Paramatma and as Vairat Rupa, gave liberation to everyone, either as cruel death or as life. Kindly enlighten me by describing his transcendental characteristics. This is an example of how the ocean, which is so vast, will reduce to what? Katsu. Therefore, we should be intelligent to take up this process very seriously, because time and tide waits no man. You know, before you know it, you're already an old man. Time. So better we take this process very seriously. Because now we are healthy, we can chant, right? But when we grow sick and old, we don't know. And because we are practicing very seriously by Krishna's mercy, there's a good chance, as Prabhupada said, that you'll be able to call on the Lord. If we can do that, that requires some training, yes. If I'm going to be materially engaged, and most of the time doing all kind of other things than Krishna consciousness, then my mind can slip out. That's why we have to have very strong association of devotees. We have to have very strong program, morning, every day, Mangala Arati, yes? If you don't do, Prabhupada said many times, if you don't do, even you are at once, you don't do, you can fall down. Gradually, see this verse here, very important verse, how it happened. Gradually, Maharaj Bharata became very affectionate towards the deer. He began to raise it and maintain it by giving it grass. He was always careful to protect it from the attacks of tigers and other animals. Even at each, he patted it, and in this way, he always tried to keep it in a comfortable position. He sometimes kissed it out of love, been attached to raising the deer. Maharaj Bharat forgot the rules and regulations for the advancement of spiritual life. And he gradually forgot to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And after a few days, he forgot everything about his spiritual advancement. See that? His attention went to the. See how dangerous? Yeah, correct? Yeah. From this, we can understand how we have to be very cautious in executing our spiritual duties by observing the rules and regulations and regularly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. If we neglect doing this, we will eventually fall down. We must rise early in the morning, bathe and attend Mangala Arati. Uh, Not only on weekends, no? What? Mangala Arati is over? Weekend. Sleep, Prabhu, sleep, Prabhu. You got to work hard, Prabhu. Huh? Yeah? Mangalarti, no? Not important? Huh? And worship the deities. Chant the Hare Krishna mantra, study the Vedic literature, and follow the rules prescribed by the Acharyas and the spiritual master. If we deviate from this process, we may fall down. Even though we may be very highly advanced. Huh? Hello? Hello? This is like a church, Friday, what? Sunday church. Huh? We only go to church on what? Sunday. Yeah? So this is Hare Krishna Sunday church. Yeah? Correct? Yes? Yes? Tell me. Huh? Yeah, if you're gonna mess around, then who to be blamed? If you become a little frog, who to be blamed? Ah, Prabhu, I will never become a frog. I'm dancing with Krishna every night. Huh? Yes? Yes? Come on. Mess around. Even you may be dancing. If you don't do this, you're going to fall down. Yes? So we cannot take chances. We have already made mistake last life. Yes? Did we make mistake last life? No. What? I didn't make mistake. Huh? This body is the proof. Correct? Yes? So we have to not make another mistake. Let our mind go free. Roving like a wind, and that's it. We're gonna be in severe, dire consequence we're gonna get. And that's going to be very, very painful again. Can you imagine if you become a cockroach or something? I mean, it's going to be tough. So better we wake up, we become serious, and we practice our Krishna consciousness as per given by Srila Prabhupada's direction. And this way, by the mercy of Prabhupada, and we will make it to the spiritual world. That's why just now we read, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Very important. We try to neglect that, then our spiritual life has no standing. So, okay, I think I've explained at length my. Just like here, he was thinking constantly of his wife, correct? Where he ended up? The place where she was. Yeah? Pitralok. Pitralok is very nice as long as you have Pitras doing your puja. If they neglect, in Kali Yuga, nobody is doing anyway. And then again you fall down. And then again. I don't think this is intelligence. Yes? Sometime animal, sometime human being, sometime demigod. Correct? This way going up and going down. So we are fortunate that we have got Prabhupada. Yes? Yes? Actually, to get the association of pure devotees is the most rare thing in life. Huh? Yes? Everything else you can get, but this thing is the most rare. For conditioned soul, the human body is most difficult to achieve and it can be lost at any moment. But I think that even those who have achieved human life rarely gain the association of a pure devotee who are dear to the Lord of Vaikuntha. Even rare. So try to become a little serious, take this life a little seriously, and Prabhupada said, make it back this one lifetime. Don't waste time. All right, I think it's getting any questions or comments on these points. No question? Any questions? All right. Any questions? Yes, questions? No questions? All right. Thank you very much then. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Any questions from the Facebook? Nothing. All right. Thank you. No glory to Prabhupada. Yeah, you come up now. How to end it?